Hi, this is Lily Cotilla. Welcome to Edging Life. You may know him as the Buddha, but Siddhartha Gautama grew up in an extremely affluent household. He was the prince, and his father had a vision that at the age of 16 or somewhere along the course of his life, he was going to leave the palace and set out on a journey of life exploration. So his father attempted to build this surround of decadence filled with beautiful women, amazing food, jewelry, gold, gems, any form of entertainment that could occupy the mind, the body. But he got bored and he fell asleep. And he left the palace just as the prophecy predicted. And along his journey, he encountered the old, the sick, and death. And he wanted to know more about these factors of life from which he had been sheltered. He also discovered a monk who sat and lived in true happiness. Upon return to the palace, he relinquished all his title, his monetary wealth, his availabilities given to him. He had a 1-month-old son, or a newly born son at the time. But he knew that his life purpose was in search of understanding sickness, old or aging, and death. Because with all the affluence given to him, he did not have purpose, he did not have happiness. So he traveled the road less traveled. And along in that pathway, the middle way, he found enlightenment and true essence of the human spirit, which then he came back to teach people, to influence people, to show people what really matters in this world, what contributes to happiness, what the purpose is of being still, of sitting under a tree and sitting in meditation. He learned all these things by giving up what was given to him, the tight hold on the reality as he knew it to be. He wanted to go beyond the edge, beyond the wall of constriction. Apply that to today's world and think of your own life in terms of the parameters you've set up surrounding yourself, the days in which you live, the interactions in which you have, how you spend your weeks, your weekends, what your thoughts are on the purpose of life. Is it about making money and attaining wealth and buying the newest and bestest of weekly technologies that are released? What is your journey? What is your search? The only thing that people say they regret on their transitioning to the other side is or are those things that fear has held them back from journeying, from exploring. The only things that they regret are the things that they did not do in this life because they chose a life of safety and perhaps of mundane. And nothing wrong with that. I'm just sharing with you this fable and what has been passed along to me. Meanwhile, while people live lives outside of the ordinary in today's day and society, they are often extremely judged, ridiculed, and punished. So, these 7 deadly sins they reference in the Bible, why don't you take a moment to think about those and to think about whether or not you're religious, how you live by or by not those. And be careful what you judge. Everyone has their own life journey, their own life route of learning, experience, growing, happiness. It doesn't always look like 9 to 5 and driving the fancy BMW home and going out to $300 restaurants to eat every night. And what is this judgment about really? What is it in terms of a reflection perhaps of you? So I encourage you that the next time you experience someone walking an untraditional path, either to ignore him and or perhaps to be curious about what led him in that direction in the first place, you have two choices. One, you can take the traditional psychiatric, psychological, therapeutic, pathologizing path. Oh, he has this, he has that, he has bipolar, he has schizophrenia, he has blah, 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 he's depressed, he had a breakdown. You can also take the parallel path, that of spirituality, and explore questions that aren't traditionally set up and integrated into our language and thinking process. Look at the bigger picture in terms of the search, in terms of the journey, in terms of the understanding of life in this body and outside of this body and in time. Live in 4 dimensions and explore people from all angles rather than keeping them prisoner in your own conditioned belief system. And with that is my attempt to modernize the Siddhartha Gautama, or Buddha.